light on over the weekend upstairs, and there's probably up here in the attic still a couple of little holes to the outside through the soffits and things. So, but with the light on, I came into a whole bunch of flies. So I'm going to try to use the shop vac and suck them up before I continue putting more foam on up here. So we'll see if that works. So Tyvek suit has seen better days, but I gotta get suited up one more time. I got one kit left here to touch up some of these low spots. Okay, well, I've got a big mess to clean up, but everything is insulated and insulated good. So bad. The snow shovel did a pretty good job. Most of everything out here is just laying loose there. It just didn't get swept up. There's some places where there's stuff that still needs to be scraped up a little better, but for now, I think we're in good shape. When we get started doing drywall up here, I guarantee you we're going to have mud splatters on the floor. So we're going to have to scrape it all up anyway before the final flooring goes down, but right now we're in pretty good shape. this place a pretty good cleaning. Hopefully no more dirt and dust is going to fall onto the floor. So, I mean, obviously we'll still have some sawdust and sheetrock dust and things like that, but hopefully no more just dirt falling. So this is a lot better to be able to work in here. I've got this pile of lumber I need to deal with. Some of that is still for framing a little bit upstairs, and it'll be for backing for sheetrock up in these, on the tops of these walls and things like that. So I'll be able to get that stuff cleaned up. So I don't know if any of you caught this in the last video when I was kind of introducing the beginning of the week what I was going to do. I said I needed to tee off from the water line over to the toilet before I sprayed the foam in. I forgot. So I got to do that. I think there's enough room in that wall cavity. I may have to chip a little bit out there, but I think it's enough that I can still get it in the wall far enough that it's not going to get hit with screws or nails or anything like that, and still do what it needs to do. So got to get to work on that. Got to put an elbow out here on the drain, and then I still have a few places like here and behind the kitchen sink. And you may have noticed when I was vacuuming, when I closed this door, I missed a spot with the foam. But the good news is I still have a whole bunch of cans of the foam that we use around the doors and windows. There are a couple of places like right here where this kind of weird framing thing happened here because the old stud was not plumb, and so there's a gap there that I'll fill with that foam. Still have to do around the doors because I had not got the shims in yet when we did around the windows before. So anyway, I have enough of that left that I can use it in that cavity that I missed. There's also a little cavity there around the door. Again, kind of a weird framing thing. And then around the plumbing, I'll be able to shoot some of that in once I get those pipes stubbed out where I need them. All right, I want to address a couple of things about the spray foam that I've been spraying in the house here. I've had some questions about why spray foam, why not just fiberglass or rock wool or something like that. And those are good questions, and I kind of want to clear some things up about spray foam in general. So there are questions about R value. So this is closed cell spray foam, and closed cell spray foam means that there is no air trapped inside of this. A lot of times what you'll see with spray foam is when they spray it in and it like fills up this whole cavity, and then they come back with a blade and they cut this off. And that's open cell spray foam, and it actually has air bubbles in it. So closed cell is much more dense, and it actually seals off the walls or wherever you're spraying it. It actually becomes a moisture barrier. And so, but one of the things about it is if you're measuring it in R value, which is the way insulations are measured, which is the resistance to heat transfer is what that is. It only has an R value of about R6 to 7 per inch. And if you'll notice here, this is a 2x4, and there's probably 1.5 inches showing here. So there's an inch, maybe 1.5 inches of foam in here, which means we're only getting an R value of maybe R10 if this is 1.5 inches. And typically in walls of a house, you want like an R19, especially in the central part of the U.S. where we are. And as you go further north, you actually want a little more. But we're not going to get that, and we don't need it. And the reason is that when you do fiberglass or rock wool or anything like that, where you're actually filling out the cavity and you're getting that R13, R19 value, you may get more R value, but it still allows for air transfer. And so we don't have that issue with spray foam. So it completely seals off any air trying to come through. And so it's rated a little different than those other types. And it's kind of, without getting into a lot of sciencey details, which I don't actually know, you would have to go to some other experts on that. I just know from what I've studied, and I've done this in a couple of houses now. I have it in my own house, and I know that it works. So it creates a seal. There's no airflow blowing through the house. So even though it's not as high of an R value, it's resisting the air, any kind of cold air movement through the house. Another comment I had was about mold and moisture. That you're not getting that air movement behind the insulation, so you're going to get mold and moisture. Well, that's actually not the case, because this is adhering directly to the plywood or whatever, in this case plywood or the wood slats that were behind there. So there's nowhere for moisture to go. There cannot be any moisture get in there. One thing you will see in old houses like this is that some people will recommend not doing spray foam in an old house like this. And in some cases, that's right, because old houses were designed to breathe, because they knew that the sidings and different things that they were using would actually allow moisture to penetrate into the building. And if you have siding that is not keeping moisture out, you would not want to seal off the inside of the building, because it's true, you would trap moisture in there. In this case, though, we tore off all of the exterior siding and got down to the sheathing. In places we needed to replace sheathing, we did that, and then we did a house wrap, and then good modern siding. So this house is waterproof, and so in that case, we can use closed cell spray foam and not have to worry about getting moisture trapped in there. Another question I had was about, or not really a question, but a comment on, while we're waiting to get the sheetrock on, we need to be very careful because of flammability. I'm not really worried about that. This particular foam that I'm using, let's see, right there on the box, is Class A fire rated. So I'm not terribly worried about it. I have a piece of foam I just stuck on a nail here on a stud, and so I'm just going to show you. If I take a lighter, and you can see it tries to light up, but as soon as you pull the flame away, it goes out. So it does look like it's gonna catch fire and go crazy like you see some foams do, and even if I get it going really good, but as soon as I pull the fire away, it goes out. So without an external flame source, this does not burn. So that's not an issue right now. So I wasn't here yesterday, but I showed up this morning and take a look at that house. Our painter was here yesterday and got a pretty good start on getting the house painted. So he's got at least these two sides done. I haven't been around the other side yet, but looks pretty good. He's still got to do the dormers, obviously, and trim work around the doors and windows. But it's looking pretty good. Okay, so I mentioned before that I was going to do this, but I will remind you what I'm doing. So when this house was built, you had the original joist that just lapped onto the side of the studs, and you can't see it now because I've got the foam in there, but there were two great big nails going through each joist into the stud, and that's what carried the hole upstairs. So I left those nails in there because it's been standing here for 100 years, and then I added some more nails with my nail gun, which are smaller nails than what were originally in there, but they're what we use nowadays. So I put those in there, and then I attached the new joist onto the side of the old joist with a whole bunch of nails all the way down through here. So I'm pretty confident that this is not going to go anywhere, but just to be sure, just for an extra little bit of security for a couple of bucks a piece, I bought these mending plates, which are the same things that you would use in a truss when you build a house with a wooden truss. These mending plates are how they attach all of the boards together in the truss, all of the webbing. So if you look at these things from the back side, they have all these little, they just punch out of the metal, but it creates almost like a whole bunch of little nails, and they're shaped kind of in a way. It doesn't really show up on camera that well, but I'll try to twist it around, see if I can get it to focus a little bit. But they're shaped in a way that they grab in really good, even though they don't go in very far. But they're for shear strength. They're not, if this board tries to push this way, then yeah, those would be pretty easy to pop out of there. But for this way, that thing is going to hold on really good, especially with the combined nails that were already holding the original joist up. So this is the way I'm doing this. I'm not in a position where I have to abide by any codes or anything on this house. And so I'm just trying to make it work. I'm fairly confident that those old joists, even though they're sagging, would have continued to hold for, who knows how many more decades the way they were. And so I'm adding to that. They were 2x6s, I've added 2x10s. They have a whole bunch of nails in them, and now they have the mending plates. So I don't have any doubt in my mind that this thing is just going to continue standing for maybe another 100 years. Been putting this off. I finally got to it, but this other wall on the other side of the stairway that I needed to get put up. So now it's a little closed off, but it takes away any opportunity for any kind of danger to fall off there. So this little cubby right here is gonna be kind of just a small like linen place to store linen, since it's mostly going to be beds up here. Shoulder surgery. What does it say? Let's stand up. Yeah. Go to your right there. To my right? Yeah. And we'll slide this up, and then I'll go around over there. I don't really think either of us ought to be straddling out across there.
I think you can push it pretty easily.
You think?
Yeah.
Pull that board back out.
Okay.
All right, that's going to wrap up for this week. Had Philip here today. He's been helping. He went around and pulled all the nails out of the studs and the ceiling upstairs so we can get ready for drywall. I've got this board here, and I did in the kitchen too. So that'll be our nailer for where our drywall hangs out there. He brought a bathtub that he bought for another project, but he decided to use it here. So he brought that in, and then he also, you've seen already at this point, but helped me carry in the air handler, and we got it set in place up here. So we're getting close. I got our electrical boxes mounted. I still have to run wiring. I built in the corners that I hadn't done yet up here, so we have a place for drywall to attach to. Got this other wall done, so quite a bit of change this week. And like I said, David got started on painting the outside, so he's still got a little bit to do to wrap up on that, hopefully in the next week. And so big changes coming. Got to get ductwork run and drywall up, and it's going to look like a whole new place in here. So getting excited about that. Thanksgiving next week, so be a short week, but enjoy time with your family. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you in the U.S. and those outside of the U.S. I guess just have a good week. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.